Hello, friends, and welcome into Minnesota Vikings Now. I am Tom Downey, and I know for many of you it's kind of the boring portion of the offseason. Mini camps wrapped up, training camp still about a month away, but we don't go anywhere. We continue to give you guys all the Vikings videos you could want right here at Minnesota Vikings Now. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that big red button and subscribe. It's rumors coming up on Minnesota Vikings Now, including some trade rumors on Alexander Mattison, more Baker Mayfield conversation, and a roster move officially made by Minnesota that we want to discuss. We begin, though, with the Alexander Mattison trade ideas. FanSided, for whatever reason, really wants to trade away Mattison, who I like quite a bit as a backup running back. They suggest the Vikings ship him away right now for almost whatever they could get because he's in the last year of his deal. He might not be here next year. Get something while you can, which is fair if you're rebuilding. I don't think this organization is. And Mattison offers you cheap and quality depth. Now, I am a little bit concerned here by the concern of Mattison having his yards per carry dip each year he's been in the NFL, but he's still been an over 4 yards per carry player. He had a bit of a heavier workload last year as the Vikings offense wasn't quite what it was supposed to be, and that's the key reason why this regime has been swapped out after all. But he also brings you good third down impact. Was, again, better in that role in 2021 when he had over 220 yards. That was pretty solid there. And that's gone up each and every single season, which is a very promising sign for Minnesota and for Mattison. I get the concerns of he might not be here next year. And I know you've drafted guys recently on day 3 in Kene Nwangu and Ty Chandler. Just carry those 4 as your RBs. Those are the 4 that you need, right? Just in case Dalvin Cook's hurt. What you don't want to have happen is you trade away Alexander Mattison, which was before training camp, by the way, and then, God forbid, somebody gets hurt, whether it's a Cook, a Nwangu, or Ty Chandler, and now you're thin at running back because you thought you were strong, injuries happened, you traded away your top backup, and now you're kind of left holding the bag of, oh no, what do we do now? I like Mattison. I don't need to trade him away right now. If he leaves in free agency next year, that's okay. Maybe I even get a comp pick next year. I'm not going to just ship him off right now. Those are my thoughts, but we're a show for the people after all. So what would you do with Alexander Mattison? Would you keep him or would you trade him away? If you trade him away, type in Y for yes, you don't want him anymore. You save under $1 million, by the way. If you don't want to trade him away, type in N for no. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if that ad break happens to play here on YouTube, well, while the ad plays, head to the pinned comment and type your responses. We're going to revisit the Baker Mayfield trade conversation here, which I am a bit surprised has gained so much steam. I know that ESPN speculated about it and we're like, oh, it could be a destination, which we broke down on a previous video, which I'm sure you guys all watched because you're subscribed. It has ignited more Baker Vikings talk, with the vast majority of it being, no, this is dumb, which I tend to agree with. I'll also make note that per CBS Sports, the Panthers have amped up, I should say, their push to acquire Baker Mayfield. This is not anti-Baker the player, by the way. He is a once promising quarterback. 2021 was a disaster year for Baker where he just didn't look confident. He wasn't healthy. He struggled across the board. But in 2020, he looked like and down the stretch he was, a top 10 NFL quarterback. That just hasn't been the consistent theme of Baker's season. It's been more or less every other year he tends to play pretty well. And it's not like high praise for the backups of Minnesota either. If you were to hypothetically add Baker as a cheap one-year quarterback as your backup, he's better than Sean Mannion, has way more upside than Kellen Mond does, and is better right now, not to mention Nate Stanley. But the issue is it'd be a one-year deal. You absolutely cannot trade for Baker Mayfield right now. So even if he's cut and becomes a backup, the argument was based on replacing Kirk Cousins next year, which from a contract perspective isn't really that doable. Here's Cousins' contract. 2022 cap it, $31.4 million. Next year, a slight jump, $36.25. If the Vikings were to cut him in 2023 before June 1st, his cap charge jumps from 36.25 to 48.75. It's an additional $12.5 million. Not going to happen. They cut him after June 1st. They save $0. It's not really going to happen either. They could trade him if possible, but that's a pretty big contract to move in a trade, so I wouldn't get my hopes up for that either. So what I'm saying is this. Adding Baker Mayfield as a pure backup, cool, but if he gets cut, doesn't make much sense. A trade makes no sense, and the initial pitch from ESPN of add him now and then have him replace Cousins next year doesn't really make any sense. So I am inclined to agree with most of the Vikings reporters and everyone else and bloggers and whatnot out there. I don't see it as a logical fit for Minnesota and for Baker in 2022. But again, we're a show for the people. So what is the percent chance that you think the Vikings add Baker Mayfield this off season? Sound off with your answers for me in the comments section. If you haven't already, by the way, make sure you're subscribed to the Chat Sports YouTube channel. The NBA draft is just around the corner. It's barely a week away, just over a week away. We're going to have the best live YouTube coverage of it. So go subscribe, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll break down every single pick and the trades, including the Minnesota Timberwolves round 1 pick at number 19 and their multiple second-round picks as well. So if you love the NBA, then you've got to subscribe to Chat Sports. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. A surprising conversation point now around Justin Jefferson. The Locked On Vikings podcast says they're claimed that the Jefferson extension will likely set a record for the highest paid receiver in the NFL, which I think absolutely could happen. I also know this. Jefferson isn't even eligible to get paid until next offseason. And then you've got the final 2 years of his deal, 2 years of team control over your franchise tag, etc., blah, blah, blah. So it might not happen immediately. But Jefferson has been, with no arguments against him, the best receiver of his draft class and, frankly, of the past several draft classes. Once again, thank you, Philadelphia, for that one. Here was the pitch from Locked On Vikings about Jefferson. He's much more productive than A.J. Brown. He's much healthier than A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown signed for $25 million per year. Justin Jefferson is going to pass Tyreek Hill's number, which is $30 million. I think Jefferson sets the market if he has another year even close to the previous two. If he has another year close to these first 2 years, that would put him in the Odell Beckham category of best starts to your career at wide receiver. Jefferson has been double what the Vikings were hoping for. Like if I had told you Justin Jefferson has a single season of 1,400 yards in his first years, I think everyone would have said, wow, what an awesome pick. Why wasn't he the first receiver taken? Well, he's done it twice already with ease, and the 1,400 was the low. So once Jefferson is eligible for an extension, he is going to be expensive. What you no doubt try to do is keep that number as low as possible. A.J. Brown at $25 million is the absolute floor unless he takes a significantly team-friendly deal, which I don't foresee Jefferson's agent allowing him to do so really at all. There's also this to remember. Jefferson, once he's eligible next year, is far from the only talented young receiver due for a new deal. DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, both currently holding out from their teams, trying to get A.J. Brown caliber money. Deebo Samuel wanted a trade. He wants a big fat new contract. Lesser receivers than those first three names, Deontay Johnson, CeeDee Lamb, also could have big-time breakout years and command big-time money, with Lamb, of course, being the number 2 receiver in that Jefferson draft class. So what do you think? Will Jefferson be the highest paid receiver in the NFL once he signs his deal? Throw in the $ for yes, or you can type in 0 for no. Make your predictions in the comments section. Andre Mintze, that is pronounced mince, like, you know, the food or the flavor, whatever, candy, whatever you call it. It's the E is silent, is what I'm saying. The Vikings have signed Mintze, who barely played for the Broncos in 2021. Now he's on the Vikings this year. This is an Ed Donatel signing. He'll offer some edge depth for the Vikings. This is the roster move that the team made. I wanted to mention it. but I'm not going to spend too much time on it because, quite frankly, I think it's practice squad at best for Mintze this year.